we can start our code space, our first code space. You can go to the Codespaces tab. Then you can see the plus icon to create a code space for this. So here also the option to create code space on the main branch. Now let's see what GitHub Codespaces are. If you go to the code here, and if you can remember the cloning options which I discussed in one of the very first videos under GitHub. This is like how you can clone this to your local repository and work locally. Here the two options, local and the code spaces. So this local tab, all these commands and everything will help you to create a copy in your local. But if you don't want to do that, and if you want to do all the things within GitHub online, run compile as well, then this is the option. The next tab, code spaces. So here you can see your workspaces in the cloud. It also explains like what code spaces are. So it will create a virtual machine in cloud. So if you come to the GitHub documentation for the code spaces, here you can get a quick idea about like what these code spaces are. Okay, so this is a code editor part. This could be even local or the GitHub IDE, anything. The GitHub IDE which we saw early, or other code editors which are local installation, like anything like Visual Studio, IntelliJ IDEA, or any other text editing tool as well. However, these things, the code editors. Then this is our code space. So we are connecting our code editor to the code space. The code space is on Azure hosting, the online hosting. Inside that they have created a virtual machine for us. This virtual machine is known as this code space. It's based on Linux. The virtual machine is a Linux host one. Then it has a container. In the container, they will open a clone of your repository. All the languages will be installed, and the other tools, the third-party tools and the other extensions and everything will also be included. So then you can run and compile any of your classes as well. And also they will give you a CPU capacity and some disk storage too. And also if you come back to the github.com website to see the Codespace pricing, okay, here the billing part is also there, and you can go to billing, and here you can see the GitHub free account which we have currently has a storage per month of 15 GB and code hours per month like 120. And if you want to increase these things, these are the free capacity for you per month. And if you use more than that, you will be charged. Then the GitHub Pro accounts, 20 GB per month and 180 core hours. Likewise, these information are there. The pricing part you can see. And also, if you pay and get the paid version, then Codespace Compute, these are it will have 2 core CPUs and 1 hour, and then included usage multiplier by 2, then it will be priced this much. Likewise, you can see all the pricing information here for your the GitHub Codespace. Okay, so now since you know about the GitHub, the pricing part as well for the Codespaces, now from here you can create a Codespace. Okay, but before that, I will go to settings to see if we have anything here related to the Codespaces. So yeah, if you come to settings, under the code and automation section, you will see there is a part called Codespaces. So I will go to there, and from here also you can set up a pre-build. So I told you that this is like we are starting a virtual machine. Then the virtual machine will come with some configurations like maybe the CPU count, then the RAM, those information and the other required details. Every time if you go and start, it will create a fresh build, and if you don't have any pre-built configurations, that it will start from the scratch, the default. So you can set up a pre-build for your repository. So here also it says pre-build configured speed up Codespace creation significantly by pre-executing all tasks required by to build your development environment. So in that case, if you do a pre-build, if you have set up here, next time like if you need to create or start your Codespace, then it will be more speed up because all the configurations and all these things are pre-executing. So yeah, let's go and try to do a pre-build setup. Okay, now the configuration, the first option, it will ask for a branch. You can select the branch. Okay, I will give the main branch. Then it will ask for the access and control. Then pre-build triggers. If you need to do any triggers at pre-builds, you can specify how often to pre-build your code space, whether it's on every push, whether it's after a configuration change, or else if you need, you can do a scheduling. So yeah, but like here you need to keep in mind about the usage capacities as well in your free account. So you can configure whether for every push or configuration change or at a scheduled interval you need to do the pre-builds. So I will put at a configuration change. And then region availability, you can see the available regions. Okay, and then the template history. Currently this is my first edit, so in that case it's the first version. And if there are any failure notifications, if you need to send these failure notifications, you can add those. So yeah, it will send it to these people if there is any failure. And here you can see the advanced options. If you come to advanced options, you can see, okay, you can disable pre-build optimization if you are having issues where Codespace are several commits behind on a specific branch. So in such scenario, like here, if you can remember, I select the branch. So now like all these configurations for the Codespace pre-builds will be applied on this particular branch. And if you think like if your Codespace was several commits behind and then you need to disable pre-build and the optimization. So in such scenario, you can tick this one. So this will prevent Codespace from attempting to use an older image, because every time I told that this pre-build will happen to speed up your things, because the pre-build is happened already and then it will start the Codespace. But in this case, there could be a scenario where it will use an older image. So if you don't need that one and if you need to have the newest image, so in that case, you can tick here. But keep in mind, this will reduce your performance, because now every time image is old, then it will search for the newest image and then it will use the newest image for your build. So in that case, it will take that time. I will remove this one. And yeah, I think, okay, I will create. And now you can see the pre-built configuration is available under your settings. Okay, so now we saw how to create the pre-built configuration, and now you will see, okay, now it's changed to currently running, and you can see the output as well if you need. Here you can see this created the GitHub actions. So these are GitHub actions. Now you can see it's similar to any other CI/CD. It has the different steps on the pipeline, and it will run those steps in order to get the job done. First, like a setup job part, then the masks, secrets are masked, then agents are installed, and then templates were created, and then it will upload the template. Likewise, so this is my the workflow or the pipeline. Here now you can see it was changed to GitHub Actions tab. I will go to the Actions tab, and here also now you can see I have one workflow already created to our Codespace pre-build and in progress. Here, if you need to cancel this, you can cancel it from here. And also GitHub Actions also same. For the free account, it will be limited, the number of hours. If you need to have more, you can pay and get these services. Then if you need to create a new workflow, you have the option in the Codespace pre-builds. It's still running. The cache you can see for the action, GitHub action, and the attention, the runners, you can see all those information. Okay, GitHub hosted runners, one available runner is there. And also if you need, you can have some self-hosted runners as well instead of trusting the GitHub runners. So if you need more resources or more security and maybe more performances, then you can go for self-hosted runners as well. You can in-house manage it, and you can use those runners for GitHub to run their GitHub workflows and actions. So in that case, it will be run on your self-hosted runners instead of the GitHub hosted runners. So yeah, okay, I think still it's running. So I will continue after this is completed. Okay, so it was taking like more than 3 hours, so I had to stop the runner. But however, I show you like how it will be done. Okay, then we can start our code space, our first code space. So you can go to the Codespaces tab. Then you can see the plus icon to create a code space for this. So here also the option to create code space on the main branch. So okay, it opened the online IDE, but here now you can see the difference, right? Previously it was github.dev, then slash qvbro slash first project. Now it's different, the start part, and also it started on the Visual Studio, the GitHub Online IDE. But the difference is now you can see this terminal part as well, where you can compile and run your tests. The output, debug console. So that part is also now included, because if you run your IDE in your locally, then you will run and compile on your local computer. But if we come to the GitHub Online IDE, since the IDE is also on online, you can't run this on your local. That's why we didn't have an option to run and compile previously. So now we created an online virtual machine, the Codespace, and we connected our online IDE with the Codespace. And now you can do any compile, any run via the online IDE. Since like we don't have any Java files now, I can't show that part. However, so now you know how to do this here. If you have any Java classes, then you can go compile and run. Okay, so that is one place where you can, another place where you can start a Codespace from the repo. And if you now, since I created one Codespace, okay, I think I need to refresh it. Okay, now let's go back and see the Codespaces tab. Previously it was empty here. Now we have already created one Codespace. In that case, it's running. I just closed the tab, but not the virtual machine, right? Closing the tab means like here I close the tab, but it doesn't affect the actually running Codespace. It's because a virtual machine which is started on Azure platform. So in that case, keep in mind that closing the tab doesn't mean that you actually shut down your virtual machine. So this might affect the limitations on the Codespace. The number of hours will be reduced due to this. If you have opened multiple Codespaces on multiple repositories, and if you don't delete them, so in that case those things will be running. So you need to have a clear idea about the GitHub Codespace lifecycle as well. So first you saw how to create a Codespace. Then you were working on that. So at that time it was running. Then GitHub Codespace will be, if like what I did here was like I close the tab in that case, but still it will be running. But now it will start on the idle timeout. Now it knows about the idle timeout, and after some time it will close it. So the timeout is there. And also, if you think you don't need this, you can delete this. So that is the GitHub Codespace lifecycle. You can create, then you can run, then it will be timed out, and then it will be deleted. So yeah, here now let's say I think I don't. Okay, if I need it, you can again click here. Don't go and create a new Codespace. In that case, it will open two Codespaces for you. Instead, you can go and start or connect back to the currently running Codespace. So that is what happening now. Okay, now you can see everything is done. Now you can work here. So if I come back to the repo and go to the Codespace, still it shows only one because we connected to the already created one. So if you need another Codespace, you can still create another one. Then there will be two Codespaces here. Then let's say the other available actions here. You can rename it. Current the name is Vigilant Orbit. If you need, you can rename. Or else you need to export changes to branch. Then if you need to change machine type, okay, let's see that option. Okay, currently it's running a 2-core machine with 8 GB RAM and 32 GB of space. So if you think like this is not enough for your work, for your repository, then there is another option, a 4-core 16 GB RAM with 32 GB space. So you can change your machine type as necessary. So I will move to the 4-core one and update the Codespace. So however, these are the available options for my free account. Okay, now it says it was updated to 4-core 16 GB RAM with 32 GB storage. Okay, so that is how you can change your machine type. Then here is the option to stop Codespace. Again, stopping and deleting are two different things. Currently this is active, that means it's still running. If you want to, okay, at the end of the day or after you complete your work, so without closing or after closing the tab, still the virtual machine is running, you can come here and stop the code space. This will save your money. Now if you go, now it says the virtual machine is shut down, right? But still not deleted. Next time, okay, let's say next day. So at the end of the day, after you finish your work, you come here and you stop your code space. Now if you, the next day, at the next working day, you can come back here and you can start the same code space. It's like turn off and turn on the local computer, similar. Okay, there is some idle timeout for this as well. If you don't use this code space for some period, then it will be automatically deleted. So those are two different timeouts. One is like there is one timeout for active code space to freeze, and the other one is already stopped code spaces to be deleted. If you think you don't need to delete that, you can remove here, you can untick it. So in that case, even though you didn't use this for any number of days, it won't be deleted. But if you need, you can tick this. Yeah, the settings I will show. Yeah, you can do the settings for those timeouts. And also you can open this in browser or the Visual Studio Code, and these options are available. And here is the delete option. Now deleting this means it will remove this whole code space. In that case, next time it need to restart. It need to start from scratch. It need to create a new virtual machine. It need to install all those things, all the extensions. So in that case, it will take some time. But now this one, if you stop it, next time if you start it, it just need to start the virtual machine, not to create it from the scratch. So it will save your time. Okay, I will delete this as well. Now there are no code spaces. Okay, the next one, here I show you how to create the code space from here, or else you can create it from here as well. Then also you can start it. So if you use these two options, it will use the default ones. But if you want to start a code space with your options, so you can go to here. You can select the branch, then you can select the region, and you can select the 2-core or the 4-core option as well. And then you can start. Otherwise, it will always use the default options, the main 2-core likewise. Okay, that is also there. And then if you need to configure your dev container, because I saw in the GitHub Codespace, the architecture there inside the Azure, the virtual machine has the dev container. So if you come here, you can configure a dev container. So here you have the option to use the marketplace available options, and you can create a dev container JSON file, and then you can commit it and you can save it inside your repository at your repo. There will be a package called dev container. Inside that, the file name devcontainer.json, and then you can save this one and commit and push to your repo. So in that case, every time when you go and create a code space from this particular repository, it will use this dev container JSON. So if you need to customize and have anything specific for your project, yeah, so this is the place you can have this on your dev container.json, similar to you do in your the other deployments as well. Okay, so that option is also there. Then you can set up the pre-builds. You saw how to do that from the settings as well. Then you can manage code spaces, and also you need to invite some other people from your project to join the code space. Then here is the option to share a deep link to your code space. So this is the option. So anyone else also can join to this particular code space from this link if you provide. And I will open an incognito window and I will go to the code space. I will log in from the other account. Okay, now you can see you can create a code space from this particular user as well. Now I shared the link to create the code space for this particular user. Then he also can create another code space and connect. But in this case, the code space usage for this particular user. So you need to keep that in mind, because the code space will be charged for the particular user. Now here when I start a code space, it was for the QE bro. He started code space from his available capacity, and I shared the deep link to the other users. Then they will start a code space. Then they will be charged for their usage. Right? Okay. Then there's the option to manage code spaces as well. Here it will show all the open code spaces for this repository to go 8 GB 32, and this much is used, and the same options will be visible here as well. And also you can create the code space again from here if you need. Okay, so those are the options available there. Then the reference link is also available. So this is another place where you can start a code space. The other place we saw was from the online IDE, and also you can start a code space from pull requests as well. Okay, I will create a pull request, and I will add the other user as a reviewer, and I will ask him to review. Okay, now if I come to add my review, you will see the option to review in Codespace. If you need to run, compile and see the new changes, then yeah, from the pull request you can start a Codespace and do the review there. So that option is also available. So now we saw like 3 different places where you can start a Codespace. Okay. So previously we saw the settings inside the repository for the Codespaces, but these were for the repo. But this pricing and everything happened for my actual account. So in that case, so I can go to my settings, and here also it should have the Codespaces. Under code, planning and automation section, here also you will see a section called Codespaces. Okay. For the first option to automatically install .files. So you can create, so in that case, a Codespace can automatically install your .files into your Codespace when creating. So that option is also there. Then if you need to have some secrets for your Codespace, those things you can add. Then the GPG verification, GPG commit signing capability, so that GitHub can verify commits made in the Codespace come from a trusted source. You can enable. I show you that how you can commit and push changes from there as well. So in that case, GitHub knows that it came from a trusted source. So that option is here. And also the other setting sync for the VS Code. And then the trusted repositories, you can select whether all repositories or only the selected repositories. Then you can come and select the selected repositories. So here, and then access and security part, it is now deprecated. Then editor preferences you can set for your online ID, Visual Studio Code. Here the other options are there. So every time I will now open Visual Studio Code for the web, or else you can switch between these other options available, but those are beta options still. Okay, and here is the default idle timeout. I mentioned that if you don't use the Codespace, or within the Codespace, if you didn't do any changes, after 30 minutes, now it will be idle timeout. You can change here to any value. The default value is 30 minutes. Then the default retention period. So this is like once you stop your Codespace, and if you didn't start it, after 30 days it will be deleted. So this is like that option. So those are the 2 different timeouts which I already discussed. Default idle timeout is 30 minutes. Default retention period is 30 days. Remember these 2. These things will be asked in your GitHub Foundation exam as well. Then host image, version preferences and the regions, those things also you can set for your Codespaces. So next time, this is since we do inside our profile, these things will be global for your all repositories. And then under the billing and plans also, you can see the information related to your Codespaces. 15 GB of Codespace storage per developer. So yeah, and 120 core hours of Codespace compute per developer. And also here, those information you can see. And from here you can see your usage. So after you complete that free usage, and after that also if you do more usages of Codespaces, then from here you can see the usage hours and the storage and how much you will be charged here. So that's why I mentioned you need to keep in mind like how many Codespaces you started. So don't keep those running. If it run more than these available hours, then you will be charged separately for those. So yeah, think wisely when you work with Codespaces. Okay, other than that, here, okay, then if you come to this particular side on the left panel, here also there is the option called Codespaces. Now, if I go to there, now you can see old. So here you can see all your own Codespaces at one place. If you go inside your repository and if you check, you will see the Codespaces which are created for that particular repository. But if you have like 10 or 20 repositories and multiple Codespaces created from each, either you need to go to each repo and check, but it will be time consuming. The easiest option is to come to Codespaces at this via this particular place. And here you can see all the Codespaces. So it shows like this Codespace for which repository and all the available the settings for that particular one and the status. From here you can stop or close all the Codespaces at once. No need to go and see one by one. So this will be very easy for you if you need to remove any Codespaces to save your the available free limits. And also from here also you can start a Codespace. So that is another place. From Codespaces page, you can start a Codespace. So that is the fourth place where you can start a Codespace. So yeah, I think we have discussed and completed the things related to GitHub Codespaces as said. I think yeah, we are good to stop from here for today. And next week we can discuss about another available feature from the GitHub. Now, I think you have a clear idea that GitHub is not only what you think so far, not only for version control. Now it allows you to do your development work, project management work, and bug management work, documentation work. Yeah, all your project work you can do from GitHub. So I think, yeah, let's stop from here for today. See you next day. Happy testing till that.